Have you ever felt a quiet intensity from someone? Something unspoken, yet unmistakably present. It's not in the words they say, but in the way they pause before speaking to you or how they seem to be listening, with more than just their ears. It's in the look they give you when they think you're not looking, a look filled with a mixture of recognition, longing, and vulnerability. That's the beginning of something deeply human, the soul's silent confession of love. Carl Jung, the father of analytical psychology, once said that the unconscious mind doesn't lie. It whispers truths our conscious minds aren't ready to say out loud. In love, this means a man may not have the words to express what he feels, not because he lacks the emotions, but because those emotions are speaking a language far deeper than logic or clarity. His soul may already have chosen you, even if his conscious mind hasn't caught up yet. Love, when it begins at the unconscious level, doesn't make grand entrances. It tiptoes. It manifests in patterns. He doesn't even realize he's creating. He might bring up your name in conversations where it doesn't quite belong. He may find himself looking for excuses to be near you, even if only briefly. And most importantly, he starts to shift, not dramatically, but noticeably when you're around. It's as if the gravity of your presence pulls him into a more honest version of himself. Jung believed that what we do not bring to consciousness appears in our lives as fate. And perhaps that's what this is, not fate in the traditional sense, but a natural pull, a resonance between two people that doesn't need explanation. If he stares a moment too long, if he gets nervous when you enter the room, if his voice softens when he speaks your name, these are not coincidences. They are signals, and they are subtle. Most women miss them. We're taught to look for the fireworks, the romantic declarations, the obvious signs. But the truth. Real love is quieter. It's a shift in the atmosphere. It's in how he remembers the smallest detail about your day, or how he seems to notice the sadness in your voice even when you smile. He might not text you every morning with affirmations of love, but he will remember your favorite book or bring up a story you told him weeks ago without realizing he memorized it. There's a kind of love that reshapes a man without his permission. It makes him softer, more reflective, even clumsy around you. He might trip over his words or seem distracted, and it's not because he doesn't care. It's because your presence disarms him. He's trying to manage a depth of feeling that he hasn't processed. And that's no small thing when a man who's usually composed finds himself uncertain, even a little unmoored around a woman. That's not confusion, that's transformation. He might start protecting you without realizing it, walking on the side of the street closer to traffic, offering his coat without a second thought, making sure you're home safely without making it a big deal. This isn't strategy, it's instinct, Jung believed. The soul acts long before the ego understands why. When a man feels this pull, he begins to act out of alignment with his usual patterns. He's no longer just acting from who he was, he's becoming someone new, shaped by the way he feels about you. You might notice that when he's not with you, he still seems to be affected by your presence. Maybe a song reminds him of you, or he brings up your name in unrelated conversations. He could be quiet in a group, then suddenly light up when you speak. It's as if his body reacts before his brain does. His unconscious is reaching toward you even when he's trying to remain composed. This kind of connection doesn't just stay in one place. It expands. He starts including you in thoughts about the future without realizing it. Not in the dramatic sense of proposing or planning your lives together. But in quiet ways, he talks about going somewhere someday, and you're in that vision. He wonders aloud what you'd think about a decision he's making, even if it doesn't involve you directly. You become a reference point. And slowly, without either of you making declarations, you become a part of his inner world. You're the thought that calms him after a rough day. The person he mentally consults before making a choice. You exist in his landscape of meaning. Not because he's decided to put you there, but because you fit there like a puzzle piece he didn't know was missing. This is love before words, before certainty, before logic. It's soul-level recognition, the kind Jung said was rare but real. And it's worth noticing, especially in a world obsessed with fast answers and loud gestures. So if you feel this from someone, if the room shifts when he walks in, if his silence feels full rather than empty, if his small actions speak volumes, don't ignore it. Don't dismiss it as coincidence. Listen with your intuition. The heart often knows the truth long before the mind catches up. And sometimes the greatest love stories begin not with a declaration, but with the simple, unspoken truth: his soul has already chosen you. Love, contrary to what movies and novels often portray, doesn't always announce itself with orchestras or fireworks. Sometimes love is most powerfully revealed in the unconscious acts, the ones we don't even realize we're doing. You'll see it in how he pays attention to the tiniest details. It might be the way he notices that you're tired even when you're smiling, or the way he catches on that you've changed your hairstyle even if you haven't pointed it out. These details may seem small, but to someone who's emotionally tuned in, they are monumental. There's a tenderness in that kind of attention, a sort of care that can't be taught, only felt. And when a man is in love, especially unconsciously, that kind of attention becomes second nature. He may not plan to notice, but he does. He may not try to remember yet. He recalls your exact words from a week ago. This isn't effort. It's emotional imprinting. More revealing than even his attentiveness is how he becomes protective of you. Not in a controlling way, not as an assertion of dominance. Rather, his instinct is to keep you safe from discomfort, from emotional harm, even from yourself when you're too hard on yourself. He'll offer you his jacket without hesitation. He'll walk beside you in a way that naturally places himself between you and passing cars. He might ask if you got home okay, and not because he's trying to be polite, but because he wouldn't sleep easy not knowing. This protective behavior often surprises him. It's not a performance, it's not designed to win your affection. It's simply how he feels, made visible through his choices. Jung would argue that his psyche is already responding to your emotional frequency. He's attuned to your well-being, as if it's somehow connected to his own. It doesn't need justification. It just is. And then there's emotional resonance. This is when his emotions start echoing yours. If you're laughing, something in him brightens. If you're sad, he might seem withdrawn or subdued. Not because he doesn't know what to say, but because he's feeling it too. He experiences a mirrored emotional reaction often, without understanding why. You smile, he softens. You cry, and something in him breaks a little too. When a man is emotionally bonded to a woman in this way, her internal world becomes a part of his, not through deliberate effort, but through quiet, invisible threads of empathy and connection. It's as if his heart listens to the frequency of yours, and that synchronicity, that deep, unspoken alignment, speaks louder than any love poem or declaration ever could. This kind of love isn't about being swept off your feet. It's about being seen, truly seen, felt, understood. It's when he chooses your comfort over his convenience, when he remembers the small things not to impress, but because they mattered to you. It's when your joy becomes his joy, not in words, but in the way his entire demeanor shifts in response to your presence. So if you find yourself questioning whether he feels the same, look past what he says. Pay attention to how he acts when you're not paying attention. The unconscious always reveals what the lips might be too afraid to say. This is where love lives, in the pauses, the glances, the silences filled with presence. In the way he listens to you like you're the only voice in a crowded room. And in those quiet moments when he doesn't have the words, but everything else in him, his body, his energy, his soul is saying, "You matter." Love doesn't always make itself known with grand gestures or words. Sometimes the most profound emotions are hidden in subtle actions, small gestures that go unnoticed by others, but speak volumes to those attuned to them. These unconscious expressions of affection can reveal the true depth of someone's feelings, and while they may not be immediately obvious, they are often the most powerful indicators of genuine love. In the early stages of love, when a man is still unsure of his emotions or is hesitant to fully admit what he feels, his actions speak louder than words. These actions are not forced or intentional. They are often unconscious responses to the connection he feels. They reflect his true emotional state, even before he's able to articulate it himself. The love that manifests in these moments is quiet and sincere, but it carries with it a depth that no amount of words can capture. One of the most telling signs of a man's unconscious affection is his attention to the smallest details. It's easy to overlook the things that don't require words, those subtle changes in appearance, mood, or behavior that might pass unnoticed by most, yet, when a man is in love, especially without fully understanding it himself, he becomes highly attuned to these nuances. He notices when you change your hairstyle, even if you don't mention it. He picks up on the slight shift in your mood, the way your voice sounds different, or the small changes in your body language that might otherwise go unnoticed. This kind of attention is not about trying to impress you or win your affection. It's a natural response to the deep connection he feels. His mind is constantly processing even the smallest details about you, because he cares in ways that are not always visible on the surface. For instance, a man who is in love might notice the subtle change in your demeanor on a bad day. He could tell that something is wrong even when you insist you're fine. He'll ask about it gently, or he may choose to simply be there with you, offering his presence and comfort without needing to say much. He might pick up on your feelings through the tone of your voice or the way you carry yourself, and without consciously thinking about it, he adjusts his behavior to accommodate your emotional state. It's a form of care that doesn't demand recognition, but is deeply rooted in his emotional connection to you. This attentiveness is not always about solving problems or fixing things. Sometimes it's simply about being present, showing that he's paying attention to you in a way that makes you feel seen, heard, and understood. This subtle attention to your needs, even the unspoken ones, is one of the clearest expressions of affection. A man who loves you even unconsciously will prioritize your well-being and emotional state not because he feels obligated, but because his heart naturally leads him to do so. Another powerful, unconscious expression of love is his protective instincts. When a man is deeply connected to you even before he fully admits it to himself, he starts to take care of you in ways that go beyond superficial gestures. He becomes instinctively protective of your well-being, not out of control or possessiveness, but out of genuine care. His protective instincts are subtle and often go unnoticed because they don't manifest in dramatic or overt actions. Instead, they show up in small, thoughtful gestures that aim to ensure your comfort and safety. For example, he might make sure you're warm on a chilly evening, offering you his jacket without a second thought. It's not a grand romantic gesture, but it's an expression of how much he cares about you in that moment. His protective instincts could also show in other ways, like ensuring you get home safely, offering to carry something heavy for you, or even checking in with you when you've had a long, tiring day. These actions come from a place of caring, but they're not driven by any expectation of reward or recognition. They're simply an unconscious response to the bond he feels with you, and they demonstrate his desire to protect and care for you in the most natural way. This instinct to protect goes beyond just physical safety. It extends into emotional care as well. When a man is in love, he instinctively wants to shield you from emotional harm. He becomes attuned to your emotional needs and works to create a safe space for you. Whether it's offering a listening ear when you're upset or taking steps to make sure you feel supported in challenging situations, his protective instincts show that he values you deeply and is willing to do what it takes to make you feel safe and secure. Along with these behaviors, emotional resonance is another unconscious sign of love. A man who is in love doesn't just observe your emotions, he feels them. When you're happy, he lights up with joy. When you're sad, his mood becomes subdued. This emotional mirroring is a powerful, albeit unconscious, expression of affection. It's not something he does on purpose, but his emotional connection to you is so strong that your feelings become his feelings, whether or not he's aware of it. If you're excited, he gets excited for you. If you're sad or upset, he feels a deep sense of concern and sadness as well. This emotional resonance is not just about empathy, it's about emotional alignment. A man who is in love shares in your emotional experiences even when he doesn't fully understand why or how. He becomes attuned to your emotional state in a way that makes him feel connected to you, and this connection deepens as he unconsciously reflects your feelings. For instance, if you're going through a tough time, he may seem to carry that burden with you. He doesn't have to say anything to show his support. His actions will speak for him. His demeanor may become more thoughtful and his words more comforting. But these changes happen instinctively because he's emotionally synced with you. His mood mirrors yours because he is emotionally invested in your well-being. In these moments, the connection between you and him becomes clear. Love doesn't always need to be declared in words. It's often expressed in actions, in the way someone shares in your emotional world, in the way they protect you, and in the way they notice even the smallest details about you. These subtle actions, the unnoticed care, the protective instincts, and the emotional resonance are some of the most powerful expressions of love. The essence of love often lies in these small, unconscious actions. They are the language of the heart, a language that doesn't require grand gestures or declarations. When a man is truly in love, his actions, whether it's noticing the small details, protecting you, without asking for thanks, or mirroring your emotions, are the clearest signs of his feelings. It's these subtle behaviors that reveal the truth of his heart, even before he's fully aware of it himself. When a man finds himself unconsciously in love, his behavior begins to shift in ways that are not immediately obvious, but become more apparent the longer you spend together. These shifts are subtle yet powerful signs that speak to his growing attachment to you. His vulnerability increases, he becomes more aware of your happiness, and he naturally gravitates toward you. These changes happen not because he's trying to impress you or show off, but because something deep inside him has changed. He's beginning to let you in, letting his guard down, and allowing himself to be more open and emotionally present. In the early stages of love, particularly unconscious love, the changes in behavior may seem small, but they are monumental when you look at them over time. One of the most noticeable shifts is his increased vulnerability. When a man is in love, especially without realizing it, he starts to share more about his inner world. He opens up about his fears, dreams, and past experiences that he might have kept guarded for a long time. This vulnerability is not something that comes easily for many men. But when they start to feel deeply connected to someone, they begin to seek a deeper connection, not just through actions, but also through words. He might talk about his childhood, his challenges, or things that have shaped the person he is today. This act of opening up is not about seeking sympathy or pity, but about forging a deeper bond with you. It's a sign that he trusts you enough to show you his true self, even the parts he may have hidden away for fear of judgment. The deeper the connection, the more willing he becomes to reveal his true thoughts and emotions. He's not just interested in your surface-level connection anymore. He wants to connect with you on a deeper, more meaningful level. This vulnerability is tied to his desire for emotional intimacy. He's no longer just sharing stories for the sake of conversation. He's sharing pieces of himself. The more he opens up to you, the more emotionally invested he becomes. This is a quiet yet powerful form of affection. When a man consciously or unconsciously invites someone into his emotional world, it signifies a profound level of attachment. It shows he wants you to understand him, to see beyond the surface, and to appreciate the complexities of who he is. As his emotional openness grows, his desire to make you happy also becomes more apparent. He starts to prioritize your happiness sometimes without even realizing it. His actions show that he wants to see you smile and feel good, not because he's trying to impress you, but because your happiness brings him joy. He remembers the little things that matter to you, the way you like your coffee, the books you've mentioned enjoying, or the small details of your life that may seem insignificant to others, but are meaningful to him. This attention to detail goes beyond basic politeness. It's a sign that he is deeply engaged in your life. He cares about what makes you happy, and he remembers these things because they are important to you. For instance, he might surprise you with your favorite coffee on a particularly tough day. It's not about the coffee itself, but the thought behind it. The fact that he knows what you like, and that he takes the time to bring you something that will make you feel cared for. This action, while small, is loaded with meaning. It's his way of showing that he's paying attention, that he's thinking about you, and that he wants to make your day a little brighter. This is a clear sign that his emotional investment in you is growing as he begins to prioritize your well-being and happiness over his own. Along with emotional openness and prioritizing your happiness, a man in love will also seek physical closeness. He starts to find reasons to be near you, not just because he wants to impress you, but because your presence brings him comfort. There's something profoundly calming about being near the person you care about, and for him, simply sitting together or being in the same room feels like an important part of the connection. It's not about constantly needing to be physically close, but he'll often look for ways to be near you when he can. This physical closeness is a way for him to experience the emotional bond in a tangible way. When he's around you, he feels more grounded, more himself. He cherishes these moments of closeness, where words are unnecessary and just being together is enough. You may notice him sitting a little closer to you than usual, or perhaps touching your arm when he speaks, or offering his jacket. When it's cold, small physical gestures that signify his desire to be close, to share space with you. It's in these quiet, intimate moments that his affection grows deeper, and he feels more connected to you in ways that words alone can't convey. When we look at the way love manifests in a man's behavior, it's clear that his feelings for you are not just in the words he says or the overt actions he takes. Love often reveals itself in how someone reacts to your presence and absence. A man who is in love, especially without realizing it, will show his affection in ways that reflect his emotional connection to you. These reactions might not be immediate or dramatic, but they speak volumes about his growing attachment. One of the key signs of unconscious love is his longing when you are apart. Even if he doesn't say it out loud, his actions show that he misses you. He might reach out to you just to check in, share something that reminded him of you, or send a simple message that lets you know he's thinking about you. It's not about filling the silence or trying to make you feel special. It's his way of maintaining a connection even when you're not physically together. His desire to stay in touch and to continue sharing with you is a sign that he's emotionally invested, even if he hasn't fully acknowledged it yet. When you finally reunite, the joy he feels is palpable. His face lights up when he sees you, and he seems genuinely happier in your company. This joy isn't forced or exaggerated. It's the natural expression of someone who is excited to be with the person they care about. There's a warmth in his smile, a brightness in his eyes, and a visible shift in his demeanor that speaks to the emotional significance of your presence in his life. He's not just going through the motions of greeting you. He's truly happy to be near you again. This moment of reunion, however small, is deeply meaningful to him. It reaffirms the connection he feels with you, and it shows that your presence is something he values more than words can say. Even when words aren't exchanged, the connection between you and him remains strong. Sometimes the bond between two people is felt more deeply in silence than in conversation. When you are together, even without speaking, there's a comfortable understanding between you two. The silence isn't awkward or uncomfortable. It's filled with mutual respect, trust, and the deep understanding that you don't need to say anything for the connection to be real. This quiet companionship is a beautiful expression of love, one that transcends the need for constant communication. It's a sign that you've reached a place where words are no longer necessary to communicate your feelings. Your presence alone is enough to create a bond that is felt on a deeper level. When you observe how a man reacts to your presence and absence, it becomes clear that his feelings are much deeper than he may consciously realize. Love is not just in the grand gestures or spoken words. It is often found in the subtle actions, the way someone reaches out when you're apart. The joy they feel when they see you, and the silent connection that exists between two people who care for each other. These emotional clues and behavioral shifts show that love doesn't always need to be stated aloud. Sometimes it is the quietest actions that speak the loudest. As time passes and a man's feelings for someone evolve, there comes a moment when he starts to integrate that person into the very fabric of his life. When a man is unconsciously in love, his world begins to shift. No longer does he merely consider his own future, but without even realizing it, you begin to become a part of that vision. He begins weaving you into his plans, his dreams, and the daily narrative of his life in ways that speak louder than any words he could say. These changes happen gradually, sometimes, without his conscious awareness, but they are some of the clearest signs that his love for you is growing and deepening. One of the first signs that a man is unconsciously in love is how he starts to include you in his future plans. A man in love, even when unaware of the depth of his emotions, will begin to talk about future events or ideas and include you in them without hesitation. It's subtle. At first, he might mention a trip he's thinking of taking, and without thinking, say something like, "We should go there sometime." The "we" is key, and it signals that he's beginning to imagine a life that includes you. His words, though seemingly casual, reflect his growing emotional investment in you. He's no longer thinking about his life as separate from yours. This is not an overt declaration of love, but a quiet acknowledgement that he sees you as someone who is part of his future. He is unknowingly positioning you in his life's narrative, starting to visualize a world where your presence is a consistent part of his plans. This unconscious integration doesn't always need to be verbalized. It's often seen in the way he mentions events or moments that he's looking forward to and somehow links them to you. For example, if he's planning a trip or a family gathering, he may suggest your participation with ease. The comfort with which he includes you signals that your place in his life has shifted. There is no hesitation, no second guessing. It's simply part of how he sees his life unfolding. Whether it's a big event or a small weekend getaway, he begins to think of you as someone he wants to experience these moments with. He's starting to make plans that involve you, and that's a crucial indicator that he's thinking about a future with you in it. Alongside future planning, a man who is falling for you will also take a deep interest in your hobbies, passions, and the things that make you who you are. This is another clear sign of his growing attachment. Even if his own interests don't fully align with yours, he will show genuine curiosity in your passions. He will want to understand them and at times even participate in them to connect with you on a deeper level. This is not about faking interest. Rather, it's about his desire to learn more about what brings you joy, what lights you up, and what you care about. He doesn't see your hobbies as mere pastimes, but as windows into your soul. For example, if you love a particular book series or sport, he may ask questions about it, or perhaps try it himself. He might show up to a game you're attending, or read a book you've mentioned, just to understand the passion behind your interests. These efforts are not about impressing you or winning your affection. They come from a place of wanting to bond with you over the things that matter to you. Even if he doesn't share your exact enthusiasm, the fact that he's making an effort speaks volumes about how deeply he cares for you. He's actively trying to integrate your world into his. And that shows a level of emotional investment that goes beyond mere affection. He's making an effort to connect with the things that are important to you because your happiness and interests are now intertwined with his. This level of emotional connection also extends into how he seeks your opinion on important matters. When a man is in love, even unconsciously, he values your thoughts and respects your judgment. This is particularly clear in moments when he is making decisions, whether they're big or small. He may ask for your opinion on a decision he's facing, showing that he respects your perspective and wants to include you in the process. It's a subtle but powerful sign of how much he values your presence in his life. He's not just making decisions in isolation. He's considering how they will affect you, and he wants to make sure that his choices align with your values and thoughts. Whether it's a decision about his career, personal life, or even the smallest of matters, he's seeking your input, because on some level, he's already integrating you into his world. He values you as an equal partner and respects your perspective. It's a clear sign that his feelings are deepening and that he is starting to see you as someone whose opinion matters in every aspect of his life. This is not a superficial gesture, but a sincere expression of affection. It shows that he trusts you enough to seek your advice and that he values your input as part of his decision-making process. As a man begins to integrate you into his life, he may not always be aware of how much you've become a part of his world. His actions may become more intuitive than calculated. You may notice him sharing more about his day, inviting you to participate in his activities, and including you in his plans more often. These small but significant shifts in his behavior are all signs that you've moved from being just a person he likes to someone he's emotionally invested in. You've become an essential part of his daily thoughts and future plans. And this unconscious integration is a key indicator that his love for you is deepening. In recognizing these signs, it's important to understand that love, especially the kind that starts unconsciously, often unfolds through actions rather than words. A man who loves you without fully realizing it may not make grand declarations or overt gestures, but his behavior tells the story of his growing feelings. The way he weaves you into his future, the way he shows interest in your passions, and the way he values your opinion, all point to the fact that you've become a permanent part of his life. The beauty of unconscious love is that it doesn't require constant affirmation. It's found in the quiet moments, the small gestures, the subtle signs that show how much he's thinking of you even without realizing it. Love is more than just words. It's a dance of unspoken connection, where actions speak louder than anything that could be said. When you pay attention to these subtle shifts, you can see that he's already made a decision, with his heart even if his mind is still catching up. By understanding and recognizing these behaviors, you can better navigate the complexities of love with empathy and insight. Sometimes the heart knows what the mind has yet to comprehend. The love that grows through these small unconscious actions is often the most genuine, lasting love, one that builds slowly, steadily, and without fanfare, but remains deep and true. In conclusion, recognizing the subtle signs of unconscious love can give you the insight to understand when someone is more in love with you than they realize. It's a dance of the unconscious where actions speak louder than words. Understanding these behaviors and being attuned to the ways love unfolds through actions can help you navigate the complexities of love with both empathy and clarity. Always remember, sometimes the heart knows what the mind has yet to comprehend.